Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
First District, David Ham.
Here.
Second District, Ronald Brewer.
Here.
Third District, Charlie Brown.
Here.
Fourth District, Pete Lindemoller.
Present.
Fifth District, Christine Sid.
Here.
Sixth District, Ted Bilski.
Here.
Seventh District, Randy Newman.
Present.
Scott, do you want to begin with giving an overview?
Sure, I'll keep it short so we don't keep us here any longer. I guess first off, I'd like to thank all the departments for enduring yet another implementation of a new system. So we rolled out the budget system again. It's partially rolled out, it's not completely rolled out. Given the time constraints when it was decided that we were able to fund a relaunch of the budget system. So I appreciate all of their patience and time that they took, going back through relearning a whole new system and relearning the process. And it seems like it went fairly smooth. We had a lot of positive feedback from survey results that we sent out. So again, thanks everyone for that. Also, sitting back, a couple of years ago, these budget requests came through, and they would exceed $14 million more than the county could ever afford, typically, because we're required to pass a balanced budget in the state of Indiana, and the state mandates our levy amount. And in the past, if we gave everybody everything they requested, we'd eventually have to hear back from the state, and they'd say, cut your budget by 14 or $15 million. So this time around, fast forward to this year, 24. So that was just 2 years ago, I think. We're basically at the point where what's been requested is balanced. It doesn't mean that exactly what we should do, because some of the requests I think are hopeful wishes or directions, but that's up to the council to decide what they want to do. But I'm happy that departments are, looking at the budgeting process a little bit more strategically and different, instead of just throwing all their wishes into a pot and going by the mantra, if you don't ask for it, you don't get it type of thing. And then often that, and the end result was budgets that really didn't align with reality, because I think it was so difficult in the past to look at line item by line item to see what's real and what's not real. That led to, I think, a number of transfers and maybe additional appropriations in different line items. I think we're seeing a lot of that work cut down. So that being said, the financial position for the county overall continues to improve. It's not where it needs to be. I think you'll see in the motions here that have been proposed. In the prior years, we were looking at a 4% reserve number, and we're looking at 15% now. We need to get closer to 20 or 30% across all the funds, which I don't believe in any history of Lake County. At least they had the opportunity to formalize reserves like that and be more strategic with the spending. So that being said, I'll turn it back over to the council, and we'll see what happens here.
Okay, I do want to state that this progress, you have your lead in this progress that we have today, because you took the staff and those that were working on budgets and actually taught them, make them understand how the budget process works. Because I think there's some that didn't. They just across the board, 10% here, 20% there. So your lead and the rest of the staff and the other departments, I like what I see now. It's they understand, and there's not unreasonable request, and everyone seems to be working together. And let me ask this, do you do a survey after a budget time and say, how did you like the process?
So this year was the first year we did a survey, and it was focused mainly on how did you like the second rollout of Oracle? And that's the first time that's been done, but I'd like that to be part of our annual process. So, because make this easier for everyone, it shouldn't be a taxing event. But one other point I forgot to mention is not only are the requests in the levy funds more reasonable, and that helps afford raises and salaries. And that's typically what you hear from every department when we talk to them. The next step to what I call it, the financial optimization for the county, is really focusing on those non-levy funds and making sure we're maximizing the use of those. And that, again, will free up some burden on the levy funds. But that doesn't mean, when you free up that burden, you're still gonna provide a balanced budget. And where can that money go? Where it's needed. And at least right now, the need continues to be salary increases, et cetera. So we've done a really good job cleaning up the non-salary line items, surplus, and affording salaries. I think the next step, which is going to be a much more difficult step, I think, is looking at the over 100 or 200 funds that are non-levy based and ensuring that we're maximizing the use of those and easing the burden on the levy funds. And then when we ease that burden, then we can transition into more salaries and become more competitive at the county.
Yeah, that's always been one of my goals. I mean, having been a county employee, and I know that the services, the ones that service the citizens, they're the county employees. And so with the cost of living we have right now and wanting to retain the retention, I hear it from many departments now, we're not, the employees leaving because of their salary. And sometimes it's not the benefits, although we have great benefits. So it's important that we do. That's been my goal, and I think we're reaching that in raising those salaries that are livable, especially in today's economy. Anyone else have something?
Scott, could you go back over that reserve portion? You said we were at 3%, and the optimal is to get to 20%.
Some consultants or experts say 30, but I think 20 would be a good number. If we could strive for 30, that'd be great. So this budget,
What date?
well, we should be there already, but we've been taking, so in 23 was our first budget where we formalized a reserve here at the county. In the past, I would say it was informally embedded in budget as surpluses. The troubles with that, though, is the council ultimately is the fiscal body and decides finances. When we had situations where we needed additional funding, it was difficult to find that funding because it was already appropriated out. Now that money sits with the council, and the council can make those decisions when additional appropriations are needed or come before us. We don't have to negotiate with another department to reduce a budget, to give it to someone else, et cetera. So now you guys are truly empowered and truly have full control now. And I think we've seen very little additional appropriation requests. Some of them really have been strategic in terms of surplus in the highway, et cetera. And there's been a couple one-offs here and there, but I haven't seen too much additional appropriation activity in levy funds. We're going to still continue to see grant funds because they're required to come before us, but the levy funds seem to be pretty quiet from an additional appropriation standpoint.
So are we at 20 or are we approaching 20, but yet optimal?
We're heading that way. So general fund, assuming we pass the motions that are before you, the general fund will have a 15% reserve and the remaining levy funds will have 10% reserves. Last year it was 4%. So we're getting there. So from 20, and effectively, if you looked at any of our budget submissions to the state up until 23, the reserve was zero. County had zero, no reserves. Now you actually see the reserve number in the state filings. So that's a good indication to the state that we're doing the right thing as well. Because we should have some type of reserve. I mean, you can't run an operation this size without some unanticipated emergency spend of some sort.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, do we want to start at one end with motions?
We're gonna
Cons-
have one presentation, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Lake Ridge. Lake Ridge is going to give their budget presentation. They weren't able to be here. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thanks for squeezing me in the rest of the agenda. We do have board member Tribble. Thank you. Here with us today as well. I'm Trista Hudson from Sunder Dalton Municipal Advisors. We advised Lake Ridge Fire in their budget and some other matters. As most of you recall, though, Mr. Brewer, Councilman Brewer, excuse me, nice to meet you.
That's me.
You all recall I was here last year with their budget as well. We come to you to ask you to pass the budget because they are an appointed board and you then ultimately have final say and vote on their budget. So it's included, just like your solid waste district.
Yes.
As well. So I do have a copy of their budget. If you need a copy, I'm happy to pass that down. If you have information already, that's fine as well.
Do you plug your information into Gateway?
We do.
Oh, okay.
We do, and the auditor's office then though does release it on their behalf.
Okay.
What they have presented for you, what they have worked through as a board, I will call a balanced budget. I say call it balanced because their expenses are slightly higher than the expected revenue in their general fund, only though by the circuit breaker amount. They know that it is their tradition to do that. They know that they can only spend up to the revenue that they have. And they do in fact have reserves behind that as well. So we are comfortable in what they have presented to you, what they've decided for their spending. You might recall that it's the second year that they've included service for the ambulance in the budget as well. That has been running well. Their medical collections are increasing. They have they've contracted with a different service to be more efficient and more profitable with those collections, which will assist as well. They very much do appreciate the public safety money that supplements that. And wanted to just, again, thank you for that contribution. They see a huge benefit to their residents there in Calumet Township, so that's important to them. They do have a small rainy day fund that they use for some various extra things every so often, but they do stay within that budget. As well, their cumulative equipment fund, they build the balance there to build toward the next piece of equipment, and that is building a nice balance for them as well. They were able to purchase the ambulance last year from that fund. So their planning there has gone well and as expected. I do compliment you on your reserve balance. That's great. That's what we love and advise all of our clients to do. And so I was happy to hear that on your behalf today, but happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I know this is a very small piece of your agenda and
The board's already ratified.
they did last week. Yes.
Do you need a copy of their budget? You have it in.
It should have been submitted from. Madam Chair, I spoke with Tim Kuiper, we did it, so the largest portion of this is $50,000 for EMS, that's, well, ambulance services, and that's a big portion of the.
Question.
Yes.
Has the Lake Ridge Fire District done any analysis of ambulance fees? Are you collecting those fees? Those go into a general fund or a non-reverting? How are those dispersed and how are those collected?
Right. So they do look at a monthly basis on the collection from that company. That company takes their fee off the top
Okay.
before the district receives their profit from that, their revenue from that. It has grown. I could tell you quickly.
And does that third party, who's the third party that's managing that collection?
Well, they switched. Now it's Medi-Count, right?
Okay. And do they continually keep up on updates in Medicare reimbursement and those sorts of things?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So they're tracking it. They receive the monthly reports. They also have access through a portal where they can at any time check in and look, make sure the collections are going properly. Their fee was passed, through their board so that all is appropriate. I will tell you very quickly that in August, their highest collection month from the private billing collection was $28,600.
You know what that collection rate is? Are you writing an awful lot of debt at the end of years?
I'm sorry, I should have checked on that answer. I can get it for you.
I have a
don't-
lot of questions.
I know that's okay. And I just didn't do that calculation for today. Mona or Tim may have that off the top of their head, but we could let you know if you're still curious.
Okay, I appreciate that.
30,000 collected, 31,000 in July. And so
Good.
that will
Yep.
go.
Very good.
And Tim did use those estimates to make sure that the ambulance portion is pretty much exactly balanced. They figured they'll collect $250 for the year. The supplemental from you as a council will then cover their ambulance budget.
Where you at on your capital side? As far as replacement of equipment or these ambulances wear out, they time out over time.
Right, and so that's what the equipment fund is for. It does receive a little bit of property tax. It has right now a balance of 148,000. Receives its supplemental, its distribution again in December. They were able to buy a used ambulance to get them started at a decent price, 75,000 if I recall correctly. It's a little older, but they're being regular on their maintenance, trying to make the best use of it. And so they are starting those reserves to plan for when the next one needs to come.
Okay.
Or possibly put a second one online, but that requires some manpower, so we'll see.
Seems like you have it under control. Job well done.
They're working on it. Thank you, sir.
The fire and police services are under a lot of stress right now with rising costs and manpower shortages and equipment problems, so.
And they're,
And increased demand for service.
as a small district, they're blessed and thankful that some of the other full-time department employees or surrounding areas will come on a part-time shift and work for them. So it's
Great.
served the residents of Cal Township well.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Charlie, Councilman Brown?
The company that does the collection for you, and they take theirs off the top. Is that based on the number of runs or the amount that they anticipate collecting?
It's a percentage of what they actually collect, as I understand it. So it's the actual dollars that are paid through from Medicare, Medicaid, the insurance companies. And so they take the contractual, I think it's 6% off of that actual collection. So thankfully, it's not unpredicted money because that could be hard to determine, but
Is that a bid process, the third party that you all have?
they took a few contracts when they were first establishing the service, evaluated the service offered against the cost. And the first contract that they settled into didn't really work out so well. Their collection wasn't as vibrant as they professed they would do. And so now they're on to a second company. I'm sorry, I don't know if with this new company, if they did additional contracts or
Thank you.
so.
Yeah, excuse me, Madam Chair, I can tell you from experience, Charlie, that the reason a lot of agencies go with those third-party collections is the cash flow issue. If you have to chase down things all the time and have lawyers do it or staff process it, it becomes pretty cost prohibitive and time prohibitive to manage a department.
Do you have a sense for your annual runs in terms of using the ambulance service?
A total quantity, do you know? If you want to step up here.
2,000 this year.
2,000 ambulance runs? Wow.
Been crazy.
Yeah.
We had 9 on a 12-hour shift 2 weeks ago in just our small 6-mile area. So in the first, I wish I would have brought that because I try to keep track of how many calls they run. We did over 600.
And you have auto aid with other agencies?
We do. We do. And we auto aid them. We got sent to Highland yesterday because everybody was out of ambulances.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Crazy. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Any
you.
other question? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll start with the actions. You want to start, Councilman Niemeyer, we'll start on your end.
Okay, motion to set reserves for Fund 1001 to 15% with the following funds: 1014, 1107, 1105, and 1337 to 10% of their 2025 budget. This is an increase from 4% 2024.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Ham.
Yes.
Brewer.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Linda
Yes. Yes.
Niemeyer.
Yes.
Sid.
Yes, motion passes 7-0. Do we need?
Madam President, motion to approve 1651 cume cap, 1790 drainage improvement, and 4350 cumulative bridge as requested.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Brewer.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Linda Mulder.
Yes.
Bilski.
Yes.
Niemeyer.
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
Sid.
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Okay.
Councilman Bilski.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to
approve set the levy rate for 1651 cum cap to make levy and set 1650 parts cum cap at 1790 drainage improvement and 4350 cumulative bridge operating balance to achieve 0.0023, 0.0070, and 0.0086 levy rates respectively. So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Brown,
Yes.
Linda Mulder,
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer.
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer, Sid.
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Madam Chair, Scott, is this verbiage right? Seed the 2025 budget?
Yeah, we were to seed it with the 2024, but
Oh, okay.
I guess it's the starting point.
Okay. I move to seed the 2025 budget to the 2024 budget for all funds and salary.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion?
What does that mean?
Well, it's a broad brush stroke to say the starting point of the budget is the 24 budget. And we could say, start with 23 actuals, we could say, start with 12-month rolling actuals. Seems easiest, at least right now with some,
It's a starting point.
yeah, right now it's the cleanest starting point versus using actuals.
Gotcha.
I think eventually we'll pivot more towards using actuals. We've done that in the past. But given that we have a cleanup process going on, it just seems easier to use a number that we know is certain.
Back in the old days, didn't we say we were reverting back to the prior year's budget? And that's kind of the same thing.
But that wouldn't include any actions that we took during 24. This would take care of any actions that we took in 24. Or no? Like if salary was changed or,
Well, we're gonna establish the 25 salaries based on 24 salaries. So,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Linda Mulder,
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Sid.
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
make a motion to approve 5% salary increase in the 2024 budget, full-time salary for non-mandated and non-contractual salaries, all funds.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Linda Mulder,
Yes.
Sid.
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Want me to take this one?
Yes, please.
Okay. Madam President, I move that if after the 5% raise, a full-time position salary is less than $40,000, then all positions below $40,000 shall equal $40,000 unless the person in the position is receiving supplemental pay.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion?
Does that present a conflict of somebody bumping into their supervisor or the next grouping bumping? If we're saying everybody's gonna be at 40?
It could potentially, but then I think we would solve that problem if that does arise. I think that the reason why I am making this motion is that we've done a really good job managing our finances. And I think that as we strive to do better all the way around with reserves, I think that it behooves us, whether you're running a private business or a public entity like Lake County, I think this is a way to kind of up our game, attract better people and do right by all the employees that work in this building.
I lose track of the number of times or what was the latest response I received on using the terminology supplemental pay. I thought at one point it was pointed out that the State Board of Accounts indicated that we should not use that terminology.
No, it's supplement, it's just call it anything you want, but it supplements their base salary. So that's where the word supplement came from. But no, the State Board of Accounts hasn't given any opinion on that or said it shouldn't be done.
I think it's just been a debate up here amongst us.
Yeah.
And I've talked to our financial manager. I got it through to you. I'd like to see eventually the supplementals go away and let all the department heads determine where those supplements are going to what individual, and then move those salaries accordingly. so we can get away eventually from all that supplemental pay.
And I think the only way to do that is the supplementals are connected to fee funds
Mhm.
within their department in the statute on how you use those funds. And then grant funds, which is, if you get a grant for, let's say, the drug court, then certain folks are paid out of that grant money that the time they use in the drug court. So that's supplementing their base pay. So I think you'll always have it.
I didn't necessarily mean this year.
No, I mean, I think you'll always have it.
Scott, but what we were talking about, am I correct? Levy-based supplemental. Levy-based.
Well, Madam Chair, may I?
Yes, please.
Dave, if we do something like that and move everything over to levy based, it's kind of counterproductive. Is that what we're talking about here? Because if we're getting rid of supplemental, then
I don't know
we're
if we want to
putting a
get
ton
into
of
this debate
pressure on
right
it.
now, but
Right.
simplistically, like, here's a concept, right? I've talked to the recorder about this, I've talked to the clerk about this. If you have approximately, let's just pick a number right now, $40,000 worth of supplemental positions in your recorder perpetuation fund. Why not take one qualifying position and place that one position in that fund versus all of those supplemental?
That I agree with, yeah.
And then
Consolidate.
and right,
Yeah.
and just clean up the
That makes
paperwork for the payroll people
That makes sense.
and for just analysis and understanding what truly people make. Not necessarily moving everything into the levy fund. That's not the case.
Because
Just
Yeah.
move it around.
Yeah, it's very typical in all levels of local government to pay people out of various funds based on various revenue sources. So that makes sense to me.
But I would say like in the clerk's office, you couldn't do that, or in the prosecutor's office, or anybody who's receiving for that work on child support, they have to be individualized. It has to be, you have to have that supplemental pay within that fund and several
Maybe an
employees.
overtime line item,
But
but he said,
Ron brought up a
maybe,
good point. He brought up
Yeah.
a very good point, and that's what you and I had a discussion, and we were saying, and even Scott recommended, not this year. Let's get through this, we're making great headway,
Mm-hmm.
and look at that in the future,
And
like this year.
Yeah, and it's a change, just like anything else. Like we changed to zero-based budgeting in 23 and that's gone over well. There
Let's
was
just-
a lot of pushback
Yeah,
on
let's
that.
just forget Dave said it and that I ask any questions and we'll move forward.
Yeah.
Where were we?
Yeah.
Randy and I are done.
There's a motion on the floor.
Okay, yeah, Pete made a motion, there was a second. So any further discussion on the $40,000 salary? All right, roll call, please.
Neemeyer,
Yes.
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Lincoln,
Yes.
Bldg,
yes,
Sid,
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Now, do I take
All
number
right,
7?
yes.
Councilman Brown, Scott, on number 7, do you have to add public works onto that
I guess we can, I don't.
for the highway? I don't see.
What says highway
It says-
teamsters?
Yeah.
Okay, but I know it's two different funds, so you got MVH and you got Public Works. I'm just asking the question. I just noticed it didn't say Public Works on there. I didn't know if it needed to.
So are you raising the question
I
as
would
to whether they are already included or?
Is this verbiage good enough, in your opinion, Scott? I guess, or should they just be throwing their Public Works employees?
It's really, it's too much verbiage to spell out, please correct them. We could just say approve the salary increases based on the CBA agreements.
Okay,
Just leave it at that, but we.
I didn't want to inadvertently exclude anybody
Yeah.
because our action didn't recognize them.
Yeah, and over the years, we pivot back and forth on
Yeah.
calling them out or don't, so we can call first. Government, we can call them.
Madam President,
Yes.
I move to approve all salary increases for all CBA increases for Sheriff's Department, Sheriff, Police, Correctional Officers, E91 dispatchers, and highway teamsters.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? We had it already. Roll call, please.
Sam,
Yeah.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Linda Mulder,
Yes.
Bldg,
Yes,
Neemeyer,
Yes.
Sid,
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve all mandated salary increases per Indiana Supreme Court, i.e. judges, prosecutor, deputy prosecutor, magistrate, sheriff, Chief Public Defender and Assistant Chief Public Defender approve probation officers' salaries per Indiana Judicial Conference schedule in tax-based funds.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Linda Mulder.
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer.
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Sia,
Yes, motion passes 7-0. Councilman Lindemold.
Madam President, I move to approve all part-time, overtime, seasonal, and election day workers line items as requested.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Brown,
Yes.
Linda Mulder.
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer.
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Sia,
Yes. Motion passes 7-0.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the requested amounts for the 63730 property rental and 61250 assessor certification, 61229 board members per diem, 61210 longevity, and 61251 assessors per diem, 61196 election day workers. So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Linda Mulder.
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer.
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Sia,
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Here I move to approve appropriations for all user fee and grant funds as requested and advertised except for our salaries.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer.
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Linda Mulder.
Yes.
Sia,
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve department reorganization and retitles.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Neemeyer.
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Does this leave out the prosecutor?
No. Yes and no.
Oh,
They're further down.
yes.
On the agenda, I mean.
Linda Mulder.
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Sia,
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Madam President, I move to approve all levy fund department budgets that comply with the budget guidelines of providing offsets to cost increase.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Linda Mulder.
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer.
Yes.
Sia,
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
David.
Let me take it. Yeah. Madam Chair, I move to approve the auditor office new position of senior accountant with a salary of 120K.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion?
Madam Chair, all I want to do is stress the importance of a professional being there. I'm not setting up a job description. But it's important that we have a good qualified person in there and to do this job. And I don't feel it's up to me to take my 2 cents and say who, but it's got to be somebody really good.
No, the auditor has that authority. Okay, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Linda Mulder.
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer.
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Sia,
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Madam Chair. President, I make a motion to approve report perpetuation fund supplemental 5% increase.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Brown,
Yes.
Linda Mulder.
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer.
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Sia,
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Like me to do this one.
You want me to do yours, Madam Chair, the next one?
I will give it to Councilman Niemeyer since he's on the committee.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve sheriff, police, jail, and animal control budgets as requested, including the new position in jail and animal control.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Linda
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer.
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Sia.
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the fairgrounds budget as requested, including new positions, as increased revenues will offset additional budget.
Second.
One comment. So we've been working with Fairgrounds Superintendent John Marshall quite vigorously to kind of change the business model there to more of one that takes advantage of the property and creates opportunities to increase rental revenue, improve what we pay, how many people we employ there to create a net neutrality. And John's done a terrific job with it. We're working with Commissioner Tippy right now as well on some capital improvements that will allow one of the historic buildings there to be used as a wedding venue, which will increase revenue substantially. So we're working through that process, but there's a lot of good improvements going on there.
Yes, any other comments? Yeah, he gave a thorough presentation. All right, roll call, please.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Linda
Yes.
Sia.
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the Lake Circuit Court salary, the parity adjustments.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Neemeyer,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Linda
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Sia.
Yes, motion passes 7-0. Who sits on prosecutors? I don't have a, who? You do? Would you? Thank you.
Madam President, I move to approve the prosecutor as requested, including the 2 new deputy positions for the SVU expansion.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Roll
Yes.
call, yes.
Oh, here we go.
I almost missed that opportunity.
Yeah. I raised my same point. I don't even know what Bernie Carter looks like anymore. So, I'll make my same request that the prosecutor appear before us on at least once or twice a year, so that I
He was here
won't
Tuesday.
forget what he looks like. And by the way, I need to add to that the sheriff. I mean, I don't want to just pick on the prosecutor all the time, but I haven't seen the sheriff in a while. So it would be nice to see these 2 office holders on an occasion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Linda
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer.
Yes.
Sia.
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Madam President, I move to approve the Veterans Department salary market adjustment request.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Is this related to the testimony we received this morning about the veterans?
It's kind of a continuation. We discussed it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Linda
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Sia.
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Madam Chair, I have an additional.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Out of the general fund, Department 1003, treasurer, I move to approve position 10031, 1303001, $10,000, and 10031, 6739001, $5,000.
Second.
These are supplemental pays?
No.
What, oh, it's line items.
Additional,
What line items is it?
additional above the 5%.
Above, right, additional above the 5%. This was, this stuff with Scott and I missed the cut here, not intentional. It was requested by the office, when the presentations were made, it was talked about, what's his name? Glenn, yeah.
So their specific, the motion is to allow them to get the 5%, but on top of the 5%, one position gets 10 grand more and another gets 5 grand. They've been instrumental
In addition to the 5%.
Well, which comes first, the 10 and 5%, and
5%.
then a 5% on top
After-
of that?
After the 5%.
Right, after the 5%.
Well,
Is it to bring someone in parity? Is it, I mean,
This- One of them's the investor. Am I correct?
yeah, please, yeah.
You don't mind if I sit? Because my knees are hurt.
Well, I don't know if the mic can pick you up from there. Oh, there we go. We'll get you a mic.
I think there were 3 requests and Dave used the numbers. The first one, $30,000 was for overtime. Because all during the course of last year, and I checked prior years, there's always money being transferred in there. And requests being made. So the 30,000 would just make it a breaking even line item. As for the $10,000 for Glenn, Glenn right now is making under $100,000.
Okay.
And there are employees that don't have his credentials making over $100,000. He's a certified CPA in the state of Indiana, has all his accreditations. And he is also his main function, he's our investment officer. And this year, he's on par to bringing in $15 million in interest income. He's brought in at least 32 million in the short time that he's been there. So I just can't see the man making less than a clerical employee when he's a certified CPA. So I thought the $10,000 would bring him over 100. And as for the $5,000, that's for Ashley in our bookkeeping department. She's the only one that is allowed to use the Oracle in the office, the Oracle program, and she's well versed in it, and she works a lot with Dan, and I imagine on occasion with Scott. And those are the only requests I'm making. It's a grand total of 45,000.
Well, I don't think 30,000 was on in there. So the motion is for the 10,000 and 5,000.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, and it's the positions.
Okay, so the 30,000 is okay then? Or is that separate?
It might have been in one of our prior
It was
motions. Yeah, just prior to
Okay, okay. So then it's just the 15,000 for those 2 positions.
Okay.
This motion that I made passes, then it's
Okay,
all
okay.
included.
And so I'm just trying to help. I think, I don't want to lose Glenn because he's a hell of an investment officer and it's going to be hard to find one. And not that he's threatening to leave or anything. He doesn't even know I'm approaching you guys. I just thought it would be the fair thing to do.
And for my own self, it's not who the person is, it's the position. So
Correct.
it's when I don't
Right.
make I don't vote on who's in that position. I prefer just position names.
Right.
Does anybody else have any discussion?
I spoke with John about this as well, and I made the same comments as you. I think it's important for us, when we make these sort of one-off adjustments, to identify those skill sets that create the value and figure out a way to make that a part of a job description so that no matter who's in that position, we have a certain credentialing that's required for a certain pay. It just makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Nothing further, Councilman Brown?
Did I understand you to say that the person, current position makes less than 100,000 and there's a clerical position that's paying more than 100,000?
No, I mean, there are some employees in the building that are making over
Oh, not.
100.
Oh, not your.
No, not in my office. No, no, no.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Brown,
Yes.
Linda Mulder,
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Sid,
Yes, motion passes 7-0. All right. Anyone else have any other motions for today? Next on the agenda?
Madam Chair, I move to cancel all remaining workshops except the first reading, which is on September 17th. Is that right now, Scott? Okay. And the second reading on October 15th.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Just so the departments know, first reading, and there can be, any changes can be made to the current actions or additional actions can be made to the first reading and nothing's final till the second reading. Okay, no further discussion. Roll call, please.
Linda Mulder,
Yes.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer,
Yes.
Ham,
Yeah.
Brewer.
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Sid.
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Madam President, I make a motion to place any remaining balances in reserves.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Bilski,
Yes.
Neemeyer,
Yes.
Ham,
Yes.
Brewer,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Linda Mulder,
Yes.
Sid,
Yes, motion passes 7-0.
Madam President, I motion to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, wait,
Oh,
did you get the one? Oh, did you just, I'm sorry, I was putting this in my calendar. The
Second.
remaining balances, Pete?
Yep.
yep, we're
Cool.
good.
Awesome.
Any further discussion on adjournment? Well, no, is it? All in favor,